So welcome to MontCode's first online meeting. I'd introduce myself, but I think everybody that made it actually already knows me. I'm curious as to how bad the lag is, but we'll work with it. Okay, so first I'm going to go through a welcome presentation that I made. Sorry if my chair squeaks. The presentation's available at welcome.montcode.com, which will link to our homepage when we create one, which I think will be a fun project for us all to do. But in the meantime, if anybody is curious or asks you what's going on, you can always send them to welcome.montcode.com. All right, I'm assuming everyone can hear me and everybody's just quietly waiting for fun things to happen. So I'm gonna keep going. So this is the slide deck that I created for the welcome. I did remix it from something that's already been out there, because that's the great thing about open source. So first I'll start with what is MontCode, or at least my vision for what I want it to be. Local community of people learning to code. Primarily I'd like to use FreeCodeCamp, but anybody can learn any kind of code from any source. I do want to kind of focus on web development. That's where a lot of my knowledge is to begin with. That's where a lot of my passion lies. But anybody could learn anything from anywhere. And a little bit later, I'll go into some other resources besides FreeCodeCamp. Anyone can join MontCode. We're going to have these weekly online chats and bi-weekly meetups. I was hoping to have a finalized location to announce tonight, but that's still in the works. So what is FreeCodeCamp? FreeCodeCamp's a global community of people learning to code, specializes in a lot of beginner front-end kind of stuff as well as some back-end. Anyone can join FreeCodeCamp as well, so if you decide you don't like MontCode or you can't make the meetings or, heaven forbid, you move away, you can continue FreeCodeCamp. There are a lot of local campsites all over the place. MontCode's an official campsite of FreeCodeCamp. So what we will do specifically, we're going to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, at least in the beginning. Back end will come after front end. We'll learn from each other and build some fun websites. Most of all, socialize and have fun. This chat room's always open. You can actually go back through the history and see we've been quite chatty in the past. How to start. Don't start now. We'll have some group coding time at the end, but I wanted to put this in there for people who go through this slide deck, not in this presentation. But first, if you haven't already, create your account at FreeCodeCamp. I actually think pretty much all of us in this chat room have already started, so I'm just going to skip the rest of that slide. Next, I'm going to go over some other resources you might find helpful along your learning journey. The first one is Free Code Academy. I've done a lot of the stuff at Free Code Academy, or at Code Academy. It's free. There's a lot of good step-by-step tutorials. Includes CSS, HTML, JavaScript, and so many others. They have a GitHub one, some other stuff. It is sometimes buggy. If you do hit a bug, there's a button on there that you can go to like a help discussion, see if somebody else has gotten that same bug. That'll help you through it. The Odin project, if you're enjoying learning about web development but don't feel like you're quite in the right place with FreeCodeCamp, Odin might be a good place to go. Its focus is a little bit different. You could use it to supplement FreeCodeCamp stuff, but it does focus on different things. It's like it says on the bullet there, touches on JavaScript, but it does mainly focus on Ruby on Rails. If you haven't heard of Ruby on Rails is a big, very popular back-end language. It seems to be losing a little bit of popularity lately, but it's still very highly used. A recommendation, I'm just going to read this one. FreeCodeCamp provides HTML and CSS tutorials that can be supplemented with Code Academy. The jQuery and JavaScript modules in FreeCodeCamp, I like that one, FreeCodeCamp, are considered by some to be less introductory. So a free resource might be to go to Code Academy. I think I've heard from a few of you a little frustrated with the FreeCodeCamp JavaScript stuff that's out there. So maybe do like HTML, FreeCodeCamp, HTML, Code Academy, and keep going from there. Go back and forth between the two. One of the most important things I can say is don't restrict yourself to learning from one resource. Experimentation is essential. Even if you are pretty solid at HTML but wouldn't consider yourself a guru and you see a course somewhere else that you have time to take it. You never know what other things you'll learn. Even if you make a website again, the more repetitious you get in something, the more it's going to stick in your mind. I thought this was a cute image, so I left it in. So what do you want to learn? Kind of explains what each one is. HTML is a simple markup language for web content. A lot of times you'll hear HTML described as the noun of the website. It's the factual what's going in it. CSS or styles on the HTML page. It's like the adjectives. It describes what things look like. JavaScript is the de facto language of the web right now. There's a lot of front end and a lot of back end that's coming out in JavaScript. Keeping our theme of English terms here, JavaScript would be the verbs, all the actions that get taken. This page you're looking at right now has a lot of JavaScript back behind it, just in what I threw together today to get things to be sized correctly. Because if you take your screen and make it narrower or wider, different things will go in different places. Block boxes will pop around just to make sure the website stays responsive to whoever is looking at it at whatever size. The front end, that's what you see on the website. So it's very customer facing. And the back end is what's behind the scenes. So what do you need to code? I think everybody here pretty much already has all this. So make sure you have accounts at GitHub. I spelled that wrong. I'll fix that. Accounts at GitHub, GITHUB, and CodePen. Text editor, I recommend Atom. That's what I'm most familiar with. It's free. It's open source. It's provided by GitHub, and there's a lot of people working on it. Brackets, I hear a lot of people are having good luck with brackets, and Sublime is very popular. It's not free, but it does have an indefinite trial. But what's going to happen is like every third or fourth time you save a page, it's going to ask you if you want to pay for it. It's not cheap. I think last time I looked at it, it was around $60. And frankly, I haven't found anything that Atom can't do that Sublime did. There's so many plugins for everything. What if you get stuck? It's going to happen. That's pretty much the mantra of coding is get stuck, find a solution, get stuck, find a solution. And that's in any language, anywhere. So read documentation online, check with Google. Learning how to craft a Google search is very important. My recommendations, first start with what language you're searching in. So JavaScript, CSS, type that first in your search box just to make sure you're not getting something in another language. Ask for help. There's both the MontCode Gitter chat room that I pretty much have tethered to me at all times, either through phones or devices. Ask for help in the free CodeCamp Gitter help room. There's Facebook groups, Stack Overflow, all sorts of fun stuff. So let's start. Well, this is the last slide in the welcome deck, so we're not going to get started just yet. But we'll close that out. Go back to our meeting deck. Okay, so I know there's a little bit of lag, so it might sound like there's a big break somewhere between talking and typing here, but I'd like to do introductions. So let's just take a few minutes to introduce ourselves. I think we may have, there's some people here that I don't know that well and some people that other people here might not know. I know for the most part, a lot of us are MontCode people, so we may know each other from there. But other than that, do introductions. Okay, I'm not sure about the difference in lag between me talking and everybody typing, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. So I apologize if I'm talking over any conversation. So what do you want? I'd like to take a few minutes just to find out what you would like to get out of MontCode. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue the presentation, but if there's anything you do want to add to the what do you want conversation, feel free to go ahead and put it in the chat or message me later. One thing I do want to offer is peer mentoring. So if you need any kind of help, anything at all, if you need help coming up with a weekly, monthly schedule, if you just want to have contact with someone just to say this is where I've been so far, this is where I want to go ahead and contact me. You can contact me at MontCode. plus mentor@gmail.com, and we can get something set up. A few of you may know that I'm a spreadsheet fanatic, and I already have a spreadsheet, well, one spreadsheet that I posted on the Facebook group, but a spreadsheet I also use for myself to track where I'm at, to make sure I'm staying on target. And I'd like to be able to help you with that if that's something that you need. This is true. Sorry, this is true is to into the past when Jonathan talked about me snarfing up on Mike, which is funny. So any other questions before we begin? I'm just going to go ahead and move it on to the next slide and mute the mic because I'm pretty much actually done with the presentation. So just want to have some group coding time or work through some Freefoot CodeCamp stuff together. Have any questions? I'll go ahead and keep the presentation running just in case something comes up that voice chat would be easier to try to go over. But other than that, well, let's get started with Free CodeCamp. And I'll, like it says there, chat room's always open. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic for now, and we'll go live in chat.